Hi, guys, welcome back to the GG Lounge podcast. I am your host, Drea, and today we have a special guest. So, Tati has been with the school for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
So, before I give the mic down to her, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell them a little bit about
Me
yourself.
being shy says the whole life story. Wait, do I just.
Just
Wait. So, my
anything.
name is Tatiana. I've been a makeup artist I'm about to hit 5 years, actually, like this Sunday, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been with the Glad Gal Makeup Academy for almost 2 years in March, I believe. Or, yeah, like in March. Yeah. I teach on Mondays, and I used to teach on Thursdays too. I teach the English class, the 11-week beginner course. So, if you guys want to join, don't forget to sign up.
So, tell us a little bit about your journey. What made you want to be a makeup artist? I know now you're at the point where like people are hiring for a signature look. So, how do you feel? Well, first of all, tell us how you started, and then
Okay.
we go dig.
So I kind of started when I was like in high school. I'm 26 now. So probably like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah, like 10 years ago. It was like around like my senior year. A lot of my friends would like ask me to do their makeup for like prom and like graduation and stuff. But I would just be like, oh, like I only know how to do it on myself. Like I don't know how to do it on other people. But they're like, oh, like it's fine. And I wouldn't even charge them. I'd just be like, oh, like just give me whatever you want, cause like I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. Um, so then after that, like I started, like I obviously like I graduated and like I went to college, but I didn't like it because I was like, this isn't for me. So then I got a job, and then after that job, like I was kind of unemployed, and it was like around the summertime, and I was like, dude, I don't have anything to do. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with my life? So I was like, why don't I just go to makeup school? So I enrolled, and as soon as I finished makeup school, I got a job at a makeup store, and I started working there. And that kind of from there, that's kind of how I started building my kit. I started getting clients from there because there was obviously like it was like a retail store, so there was like a lot of girls walking in, and I would always be like, oh, like I do makeup if you want to get your makeup done. So they would always come back to like look for me, and that's kind of how I started. And ever since that, I've been like I've never like took a break because I feel like once you take a break, you kind of fall off track. So for me, what's helped me a lot, like I've always tried to be consistent, whether it's like taking clients, posting on Instagram, like trying to just keep on practicing, always taking classes, like learning new like techniques and like new styles of makeup that comes out. Cause obviously, like with makeup, like I feel like the industry is always growing, so you gotta keep up with it. Cause if not, like you're gonna fall behind. So that's kind of how I started, and that's like where I'm at now.
And I also know that you have a lot of product knowledge. So, how did you learn a lot about products? Did you take a class, or what was something that you're like, you know what, I need to know more about products, and this is what I'm gonna do?
I think for the product stuff, like I've learned a lot because I used to work at a makeup store. So like I would have to test products, and not also being there, like I would also have to do like tutorials. So I would have to try different products and give like my reviews and thoughts on it. And also I feel like everything that I have in my makeup kit, I always tell this to my students, like I always try it on myself and then I'll put it in my kit. So I always try to like try new products or see like what's coming out and stuff to try it, just to see like if it's worth it or not. Because if not, like you have to know about the product in order for you to be able to do makeup in a way, because you need to know how to work with the product just in case if like something happens for whatever reason, like X, Y, and Z.
And I think that is very important because I feel like a lot of, especially the new upcoming artists, they see like a kit and they think, oh my God, I need to have that. But
Yeah.
honestly, it's better to try it on yourself because
Uh-huh.
what if it works for you, but not for me? So that's why it's also good to like start,
Try things.
try and start things and then go from there. So how do you feel being an instructor? You want to tell them a little bit about?
So I feel like being an instructor, like I never, this was like, I always say this, like this was never in my plans. Like I never in like 1,000 years expected to be a makeup instructor. But people always told me like, oh, like you would be a good makeup instructor because you're really good at explaining. So I've known Gladys and Andrea for like a while now. I don't remember exactly when I met them, but I've known them for a while. And then like the opportunity kind of just came in and it felt like in my hands. And like ever since I started teaching, like I fell in love with teaching, because obviously with like being a makeup artist, there's so many different outlets like that you can do, and being a makeup instructor has completely like changed my life, just because like I love seeing like the growth of my students. So I have a lot of students that have like I've known since like I first started, and they're still out here like working in the field, like they're freelancing,
Mm-hmm.
they're like helping with like social media stuff. So I think it's super cool to like see them grow, because when I like see them, I kind of see myself in them, if that makes any sense, because I feel like I could see the drive in them and like how bad they really want it, and how much like they want to make this like their full-time job, you know.
So, fun fact, Rachel was one of her students.
So that's why I said like it's super cool to see them grow, because it's like whether it's with makeup or like doing different outlets, like obviously like social media is like another different outlet you can do with like makeup, or like how they're like I see always see her hustling, like she goes to school, she has another job, she be volunteering. I'm like, dude, okay, you need to chill.
Honestly, from I think you and Rachel are the ones that do the most, literally, but not in a bad way. Cause it's actually good to do the most if you could handle it, you know. Cause me, I'm sometimes when I want to do the most, since I drive myself crazy. But now that I'm doing a little bit more, I'm like, hey, this is not bad. I don't know why,
I
you
think
know.
it's just like I like having a lot of my plate sometimes, because it gives you something to do. Like you're just never home like, oh, I'm bored. Like no, that doesn't exist around here.
Yeah. So it is very different teaching and taking clients. I know that you are currently, you're basically like a full time makeup artist. So how do you, because I know sometimes when you're taking a client and then you come back and you teach, you kind of have to turn off the like, this is not my client. This is a, it's a student. So how do you manage to do that?
I feel like I kind of have like a switch in my head, because I feel like when I'm with clients, I do like to talk because I like to build the relationship with them. But obviously, when I'm teaching, it's like a little different, because I have to like explain like my technique and like why I'm doing certain things. So I feel like it's not as hard as you think it is for me, because I'm like, okay, like I'm on teacher mode, like I gotta be on top of what they're doing and stuff, or like I gotta make sure like they're like um I'm like, how do I say, like I'm directing them in the right way on how to take a client, especially when they're like setting up and stuff like that. So I feel like it's not hard for me to like turn that switch off. Like I feel like in my head I have a schedule, and I'm like, okay, Mondays afternoon, like you're a teacher, you're not a like a
Yeah, because I think
taking clients.
sometimes, like for me, like sometimes you have to remember, okay, some people, everybody in the class is different and
Yeah.
everybody has some know, some don't know anything. So you basically have to say, okay, I cannot go like, let me go in crazy, and you basically have to break everything down. So it
Yeah.
is something that you need to be like, oh no, let me slow down a little bit.
Yeah, so I think I like that part, because I feel like it like brings me back to like, okay, like you gotta teach him like everything, like the basics, like every single little thing, because they obviously some of them like don't know a lot about makeup.
And how does it feel being now basically a full-time makeup artist at a young age? I feel like you have accomplished a lot. Do you want to, if there's somebody that's watching that maybe took a class, and because sometimes people, things happen, life happens, you sometimes take some time off, or you you're like, okay, you know what, let me just chill, or I'm busy with work. Any advice that you give somebody that started something but maybe didn't continue because of maybe lack of motivation, or sometimes people get discouraged easily, like if they don't get booked. So any tip you would give?
I feel like when it comes to that, I feel like it's really like within yourself. Because I feel like we always talk about this. I feel like you yourself are your biggest critic when it comes to obviously like being your own boss. Because it's like you don't have anyone telling you, oh, you have to clock in. Like you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you have to be really like self disciplined with yourself, and remember why you started this journey. Like always remember your why. And we always even tell our students too, like all the time, like remember why you started this. Like don't forget like why you're here, and like what could be like what could happen in the future, because realistically I feel like with makeup you don't really know like where you'll end up, because I never thought I would end up
Yeah,
here.
that's
But
true.
like obviously like I know sometimes it's hard to like be like motivated and stuff, but always remember why you're doing this, like whether it's for yourself, whether because you want to be like your own boss, whether it's because like you know what, like I'm a mom and I don't have like I can't have like a 9 to 5, I could only have like a weekend job. Like
Hmm.
remember why, and like always stick to that, because I feel like that's always helped me. And then well, for me personally, I feel like my mom didn't think this could be like a real job, so I just always wanted to prove her wrong. And I always tell Drew, I was like, it is until now that like I like do this as a full-time job and I'm a makeup instructor, that she's like, oh, like now I'm actually proud of you. Like I never thought like you could actually do this as a full-time job. So like for me it's like proving people wrong. Like
And honestly, people just cannot get discouraged. Like, if you don't have that support from somebody close, you always have to kind of like in the back of your head believe in yourself, because not everybody uses that as fuel.
yeah.
Some people like let it get to them first, and then they're like, you basically just have to go harder
Yeah,
when,
you have to really like do it for yourself, even though like you might not have support, like how she said. But I feel like another thing that has also helped me too is like I feel like I surround myself with people that like support me, like as far as like my friends. And I feel like most of my friends are like their own bosses, so like also kind of helps me too, because it's like I know if they're doing it out here, like I could do it too, you know. So I feel like that also helps
yeah,
too.
it's very important for your surroundings. That's why
Yeah.
we always tell the students, you have to get involved,
Mhm.
be a model, do workshops. There's like, you basically, as a upcoming artist, you have to put yourself out there, because it's not gonna be handed to you. It's not gonna be luck. It's basically, you need to work for it. Like,
Yeah.
what if people don't know anything about you or who you are? You also have to like interact with your audience and things like that. So you definitely have to put yourself out there as well. There's a lot of opportunities, and you just never know who you're gonna meet, because that one
Yeah.
person could change your life.
No, literally, like one person could like change, open so many doors for you, which is crazy.
Any do you want to tell us any like goals that you told, because I know you tell your students that you, as an artist, you have like small goals that you want to accomplish. Do you want to talk to them about that, or like maybe things that you checked off your list?
Well, I feel like for me this year, when like the year had first like started, like in I think it was even like in December or January, I like told myself that like I don't really tell people my goals. I kind of just keep them to myself. But I feel like one of the biggest goals that I told myself that I really wanted to accomplish this year was to be like a full-time makeup artist, because I was like I know I could do it. I just need to push myself hard enough in order for me to be able to do it. Because I always tell my students, like, being a makeup artist is fun because it's like you make your week's check like in a day. Like, you literally realistically only have to work like one day out of the week in order for you to make like your week's check compared to like other people. So for me, it was always like, oh, like being like a full time makeup artist. And I feel like for me, like accomplishments that I always like get like once a year, which I love, is always that like I'm able to travel like really far to go do makeup. Like a couple years ago I went to Vegas to go do makeup. Last year I went to Fresno, and then this year I got the opportunity to go to like Palm Springs, which I think is like super dope because I feel like not a lot of people get opportunities like that. And whenever I do get the chance to do that, I feel like super blessed because I'm like, you want me to go to you? Like, and you're willing to pay me? What?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, the clients didn't happen overnight. I know sometimes you have to put yourself out there. Any tip that you give somebody that's like, whoa, how come it looks? Because you're very private, you're very to yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe from a lot of people, usually from the outside, probably think like, oh, it looks so easy. Like, how did she get lucky? Because people will judge you
Yeah.
like that.
Uh-huh.
So maybe like, what is it that you did that maybe people don't know that you did, because you're so to yourself? You're very like, she just has like a tunnel vision, and she's that artist that maybe you will not see her at a network event.
Yeah, but
So
like
how did you do
somehow,
it?
um, I feel like when I first started, like obviously since I worked at a makeup store, like I would network there. But now that I don't work there, I feel like what has helped me a lot is just like staying consistent on social media. Like I literally try to post every single day, even if it's on my stories. I try to post like 2 or 3 times a week, like on my feed, just so people like see that you're active, and then also so Instagram will like shadow ban you. I feel like when like people really see who I really am is like when like my clients, like when they come to their appointment, like I always try to make them laugh, and I always try to build like a relationship with them so they could come back to me, because I've had clients that like hadn't got their makeup done with me in like 4 years, like before COVID, and they still come to me because they're like, oh, like I trust you and I like your personality. Or they'll even tell me that like, dude, you're funny, like I like you, and they'll end up inviting me to their parties. I'm like, oh my god, no.
But do you run ads or do you use Facebook
Yeah,
Market?
so I do run like ads all the time on Instagram, and I feel like that's what how has helped me like a lot lately, because I feel like you can reach, like, if you're not at like at events networking. I feel like Instagram, like we all say, like it's free. But once I started doing like the ads, I have had like people from like literally like different parts of like SoCal reach out to me. Like I've had people from like Victorville, Hesperia. One time, some girl wanted me to go to like Big Bear, but I was really bugged. Like I have people from all over like SoCal always reach out to me, and I'm like, dude, like I always like to ask like clients like them, like, how did you find me? And they're like, oh, I found you through your ad. And I'm like, oh, so they do work, because like you just pay and Instagram will promote your stuff. Yeah, like it might be like a little annoying to like your friends and stuff, because they'll always see your stuff like pop up. But I feel like that's what has helped me like a lot, because like,
But it's part of your job, so
yeah,
they
it's part of
cannot
the,
get annoyed.
yeah. So I feel like ads have helped me a lot. I try to use hashtags a lot too, and I always try to tag like the city where I took the client. So I feel like that helps me a lot too. And obviously like word of mouth and stuff. I always carry business cards with me, like if I go to like concerts and stuff, and girls are like, oh, I like your makeup. I'm like, here's my business card.
So for Tati, for you, your social media, for you, what works most is like doing reels, right? Because
Yeah,
you have your page a certain way,
yeah.
so that's what's
I
been.
feel like also like having an aesthetic like kind of helped, because I feel like ever since I started doing like the reels and the videos, people tell me like, "Oh, I like that you only have videos, because I could really see like the quality of your work." Because I feel like in a picture, like you could still like Photoshop and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to the point where you wanted to give up, um, but you were like, what's something that kept you going or keeps you going?
I feel like I only get to that point where like I start to slow down, which is like right now. Like in December and like January and February. Like sometimes I do get discouraged. I'm like, oh, like is this really worth it? Like I'm not getting booked. But then I also have to remember like people don't have money because like they're the
Yeah.
holidays, you know. And I'm like, oh yeah, like you be spending a lot.
I totally get it. I do feel like every makeup artist does go through that phase because we do have seasons.
Yeah, we
Like
definitely do.
it's definitely like a wave. It comes in waves, and it's same thing with the classes. We're kind of very familiar with like the way the artists get booked, because sometimes people want it, and then
Hmm.
sometimes people are like, oh, we're on vacation mode. So for sure, it is something that does discourage you. You do get very like, oh my god. But I think that's when you have to use that time to basically like it's okay to rest, but also like make better marketing, really network yourself.
Yeah, I feel like right now, like I know it's gonna get a little slow. I'm like already thinking like, okay, like what am I gonna do different next year? And I need to start preparing for like next year already. Like what's gonna change? Like are my prices gonna go up? Just certain things like that. I feel like that's what I'm thinking about now. Like, oh, what am I gonna do different? Right now I'm like, oh, should I change my aesthetic to my Instagram? Like I'm trying to do like 1,000 things at one time. But I feel like it's my downtime in order for me to like prepare for the next year, because I feel like every year I just get busier and busier. So you really have to like mentally prepare yourself. And like how she said, it's your downtime to like, obviously, like,
And it's okay to like change your like that's how I did a social media class the other day, and I was showing the girls. I didn't have a beauty page till maybe last year because, well, I don't really do clients, but people would come to
mm-hmm.
class and sign up, and they would be like, well, can I see your work? Even though I'm not a teacher, but
Yeah.
I do have like workshops here and there. So that's when I decided. Originally, my Instagram was gonna be product knowledge and
Oh,
more
okay.
like I had like a, if you go back to the bottom of my feed, I had like a picture of me with makeup, and then like a quote, and then a product.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
then and at the beginning of this year I started doing, I wanted to be a bridal makeup artist. So I took
Okay.
like a course to do
Uh-huh.
brides and things like that. But at the beginning of the year I started doing editorial. So you
Yeah.
just never know where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Because if you see my feed, I started like at the, I think I'm gonna have 1 year with my Instagram, and then next thing you know, I'm doing editorial, I'm doing all these things, and I get clients here and there, so I have to post them. So it's like it sometimes life just takes a turn.
Yeah. Like you might think, like, cause when how she says she when she wanted to do bridal. When I first started, I didn't like doing bridal. I would say no to people. I'd be like, just because I feel like if you do bridal, like obviously like the atmosphere is kind of overwhelming sometimes because there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
going on. But like now I've done bridal makeup and I've gotten used to it. So I'm not as scared of it as much, but it is how she said, like you never know like where you'll
Yeah.
end up.
And since it's your client, they will challenge you. They will request. Some trust you and they say do whatever you want, but
Hmm.
then there's some that I want this or they're very specific and they show you the
Yeah.
picture of their look. So you just have. I think as an artist, you just have to be ready for everything. Um, I don't know what else to say. Let's see. Any I don't know. I blanked out. Any tips on like people whenever they want to learn how to price? Do you want to give them any tips or anything?
I think for me, I've always been open to my students about my prices, just because I feel like your price is like what type of client you'll get too. Because I know sometimes when you undercharge, it's like when you get those picky clients that are like, oh, like I don't like this, or can you do this or do that. So when I first started, obviously I've been doing makeup for almost 5 years now. So the first year I started charging 85, and it's always been like a flat fee, no matter what. And then, so I after that was 95, and then I went up to 110, and right now I charge 130. But obviously with the new year, I'm gonna start charging more, just because like the past 2 years I have taken classes, and every time I take a class I do invest in my kit as well. So every time you invest in your kit or you take a class or for whatever reason, you do want to put your prices up. And obviously too, like I'm a makeup instructor now, so that's another reason why to charge like a little bit more, because you have like more knowledge. So it's always, you always want to charge more. And then I always tell the students, like if they can't afford you, like it's fine. I have so many people that like leave me on red all the time. They're like, oh, like that's out of my budget, and I'm like, oh, like it's fine, I understand, because obviously like I understand that people have 9 to 5s, like they're out here like paying bills and stuff. But it's like if you could afford me, you could afford me no matter what.
And then I think some people that, especially the ones that don't really wear makeup, they stayed in that time where they think that makeup is still $50.
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude. Like, I literally spent so much money on makeup. Like, yesterday I placed like 3 orders on 3 different websites, just like trying to like restock, trying to buy a new product. And I literally buy lashes like every week. You can ask Andrea. I buy
Yeah,
lashes from her every single week.
literally.
Yeah, so it makeup, like obviously being a makeup artist, it's a huge investment. I feel like you're never satisfied with your kit, and you're always wanting to buy like everything, but that's why you want to
But in a
charge.
way, I think it's good and bad. I mean, for you, it's good because you put it to use. But for example, I went through a phase where I wanted to buy a lot of things,
Hmm.
and then I next thing you know, I had like 3 kids, and I had a lot of things, and then a lot of things were expiring.
Yeah.
So how do you know when it's time to buy more things?
I just feel like whenever I feel like I'm missing something, like recently, I bought like the Patrick Tall like eyeshadow palettes because I've been eyeing them for like the longest, and I bought them during like the Sephora sale. But sometimes I feel like I am missing like certain colors, like when it comes to eyeshadow. Like I didn't really have like mauve tones, so I bought like the mauve tone one because I was like, oh, and I know like a lot of brights like mauve tones, so I was like, oh, might as well like invest it into it and like at that palette. And I'm so glad I did, because like the eyeshadows are really creamy. Or if it's like certain little things that I'm like, oh, I should probably add this, or it's time to
Or is
add
it,
this.
or do you wait until you run out of something that you're like, okay, let me restock on that? Or
Yeah, certain products like I do restock often, like obviously like setting spray, concealer, like foundation and stuff. But I also too, like when it comes to blushes, I feel like I don't have that many. So certain things I'll be like, oh, maybe I need to buy this blush because I don't have this tone. So little things like that. Like when I first started, I had like I palettes and stuff that I would use, but I was like, no, like now I need to really invest and get like the colors that are like trending right now too.
so for sure, your kid is basically never gonna be ready.
Yeah, it's never ready, but like I still you have stuff that like I've had since like day one. Like all of my glitters that I've had since like when I first started, I literally still use because it's like glitter. A lot
Yeah,
of people
that's
don't
true.
request it, but I always like to have like different variations of tones of glitter come in.
So we're gonna jump to the educational side. So why should somebody take your class?
Cause why not? I'm just kidding.
No, girl, you need an answer.
No, I feel like when it comes, well, from my students that have told me in the past, they tell me that I'm like really funny.
That's why.
That I like to.
They're
Well,
like,
I like.
we're
I
gonna
don't
come
like.
and laugh.
I don't like to be like, okay, one thing about me when you take my class, I'm not like really strict. Like I like to be like really chill because I feel like at the end of the day, I want this to be fun. Like even though like you're gonna start your business and stuff, I want this to be fun, and I like building connections with my students. Because I like to see like the growth after. I do follow a lot of my students on Instagram, and I love seeing them like out in the field and they're like posting like, oh, I'm super booked and this and that. And I always tell my students, like even after you guys graduate, you guys are more than welcome to like message me, ask me questions. You have if you guys have questions about anything like products, pricing, whatever it is, etc. Um, yeah, and I'm like, dude, I'm really funny. I'm just kidding, but
Who's your favorite student? Just
I
kidding.
honestly like I feel like I have a lot of favorite students because
Really?
I like there's some that I still follow and I'm like, oh, like I remember them or I miss them seeing in my class. But I mean, why wouldn't you want to take my class? Like, hello, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, well, let's stop.
Next question. Nah, just kidding. Well, I think it's an experience that you give the person. This is like the space. Everybody learns differently, and I definitely think it is good to see them evolve. And then we try to get as involved with them as possible. Like we do student of the month,
Yeah,
perfect attendance, because sometimes there is days where you're like, do I really want to go? So I think that's why she tries to make it fun. She is a little bit strict though, because
sometimes,
you
not all
know
the time.
sometimes you're serious, but I think everybody so far, everybody's doing good. I don't think we've ever had like a trouble student or anything. Have you
No,
ever had a trouble client?
I have once, just one time, and I'm still traumatized. Well, no, I'm not traumatized. I it was actually this year, like during the summer. So the troubled client was the mom of the quinceañera, and she just had like a bad attitude, and like this is how she normally was, and I didn't know this. And so I did her makeup and I did her daughter's makeup and they like laid lives, but I still had to do like the like two of the tias makeup and then the one of the her like older sister, I guess. She was like, "Oh, like I was mentally preparing myself for this day cuz like of how my sister is." So I was like, "Oh, she's just naturally like that." And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, oh, "Okay." And then after like I just felt like I really big like on energy, so like as soon as I walked into their house, I felt like the energy was really like tense and like I just felt it and it was really like heavy and I felt uncomfortable, but after she left, like I was okay. I was like and then I think it's okay, so funny part, like
Mm,
I had like I always wear like my skincare routine when I go do clients and I had some skincare routine like fall into my eye and one of the sisters saw me go like this and I think she thought like I was crying but I just had like skincare in my eye. But that day I literally was like it was a really bad
not the
experience.
lady making you cry.
It was a bad experience because I was just like, dude, trágame tierra y escúpeme, like, which means like earth eat me and like spit me out somewhere else because I didn't want to be there. But I was like, dude, like, this is my job. Like, this is what I got booked for. Like, just finish them, get your money, and leave. As I was like, I'm never going to see them ever again, which I never have.
Yeah, you will doing makeup is definitely a luxury. There will be some that you'll never see again,
Hmm.
and you're okay with. And then there's some that you want to see. You're like, oh, hopefully they book me again. But that's what we always tell the students: you have to have thick skin
Yeah, you
because
really do.
people do have different personalities, and you do deal with all kinds of it.
Cause it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, if you have a bad like experience, you're gonna like square up with them. Like, no, dude. Like,
I would take her makeup off. Nah, I'm
no,
just
like,
kidding.
cause at the end of the day, like, this is your business, and like the way
Yeah,
you run
that's
your
true.
business, you are like, what do you
You're
say?
the
You're the
face.
face of
Yeah.
your business. So it's like, regardless, whatever situation you're in, like, try to be professional and just thug it out. Like, at the end of the day, you know when like a client's gonna come back and when they're not. Like, you
Yeah,
know it
that's
at the
true.
end of the appointment. You know who's coming back and who isn't. So just thug it out.
That's very true. I think like everything is sacrifice and hard work, but at the same time, it's so rewarding because you now have the flexibility of like having your own schedule. you pick and choose and you do things like that. Um, how many jobs do you have?
Okay, so right now, so right now I currently have three. So I have a Monday through Friday job, which is like my, I guess what people would call like their 9 to 5, but mine's like I go in at 3 a.m. and I get off like at 9 a.m. because I only work there part time. I work at FedEx. I'm a forklift driver, and then I work here on Mondays afternoons, and then I do makeup like on the weekends or like during the week whenever like people need me. So it's not bad.
So you see, if you think you cannot manage, she could do it, and she's in a good mood. And how many hours do you sleep?
Dude, today I haven't slept. Because they asked me to stay to take a lunch because we were really busy. I got home like at 10.
Wow.
And I started getting ready like at 1. I only slept like 2 hours maybe.
And then you're going back to work today.
Yeah, and then I have work again at 3 a.m. So I
So
think
it's a lot of sacrifice that
it
we
is.
do put when you're working hard. I don't know. Have you ever felt like sometimes I feel like all this sacrifice for what? Have you ever felt like that?
No. Because I feel like sometimes I'm just like, oh, like, is this even worth it? But then, like, my favorite part is like seeing the client's reaction when I show them like the makeup. And they're like, oh my God, like, I've never looked this good. And then to me, it's always funny when I give them the mirror and then they can't stop staring at themselves. I think that's for me, like, that's their biggest, like, that's for me, that's like, what, like, fills me inside.
Yeah.
Like, being able to, like, I guess give people confidence because I feel like as women, sometimes we like forget about ourselves because sometimes you're like a mom, you have an everyday life, you don't get ready, but it's like that one time when you get your makeup done, like I feel like you give people like a boost of confidence because it's like they forget what they look like with makeup on or like they forget what it's like to feel pretty, you know?
And it's definitely, I think doing makeup is definitely like that. Like it makes you satisfied, you know.
Yeah.
You do get happy, and then I like seeing how we could change their face,
Yes.
especially like when if they don't have like a skincare routine or anything. It's a whole different thing. That's why I always wear makeup. Um, I don't know what else do you wanna anything you wanna say to the channel or anything.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Just kidding.
And then, do you plan on having? What are your? Well, I know you're very private, but what are your plans? Do you plan on having any workshops next year or anything that you are working on?
I would like to have another workshop. I usually have them here with Andrea because I'm like, she's my friend. But so right now, I feel like as a goal as an artist, so right now, well, maybe for like the past year, and I know she's noticed, I'm really into like how they do makeup in Mexico. Like, I love the way they do makeup over there because I feel like it's super soft, yet like very dainty, like
Like
colorful,
airbrush, like
airbrush. Like it's I just love the way they do makeup. I actually took a workshop not that long ago just to kind of learn like the way they like the technique and stuff. So I actually just placed an order for like a bunch of stuff that I hopefully I'll be able to practice and learn how to do that technique because I feel like that's what's trending right now, especially like I feel like in the Hispanic community, I forgot to tell you guys, my most of my clients, my demographic is like Latinos, especially like Mexicans. So I feel like that's what I always get, and people do request those thugs. And at first I was like, I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna thug it out. One thing about me, I'll never tell you no. I'll be like, I'm gonna just figure it out and see how I could do it. So
that's good.
yeah, so hopefully we could have a workshop here. I know we were talking about having like a buchona workshop
Yes. So if you're watching and you're interested,
and like buchona makeup.
I think we should do it within the year.
Like yeah, I probably like in a month or so, no? Like in January, pues.
Yeah. Not in a year, like within the new year. Sorry, guys. They're like, what? We're
I'm
gonna
like,
wait a
what?
year?
Andrea, a
No,
year?
sorry. It's because it's already like end of November, early December that
No,
we don't even
literally.
know like what day we live in.
I know, yeah, that's crazy.
So yes, guys. Well, thank you for visiting us
Thank you
and
for having
being
me.
a guest. Comment anything if you guys want to see Tati again or any questions that you guys want to ask her. Also, you guys are more than welcome to be her model. And thank you for joining. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.